Good morning and welcome into the first live show for the Invest in Yourself podcast live. So this is going to be a new series that I'm going to be starting, and I'm going to continue to bring on old guests that I've did in the past and continue to bring them on and share their stories, compare stories to other guys that have similar stories, and you guys can comment in and have questions for them. So yeah, I mean that's really the plan is to have people that I've interviewed in the past because I've interviewed over 200 people, and so I'm going to continue to just think back what shows would be good segments to have come on and compare stories to each other and take questions from live subscribe or people in the chat. Let's see. Good morning, Morrissey boy. I appreciate you tuning in this morning. But yeah, that's kind of. I just wanted to do a little intro and welcome in and wait for some people to come in here. I know it's Easter, so happy Easter, everyone. I don't know how many people will really join in, but this is not meant to be a super long live show or anything like that. It's just really to give a new introduction on what I'm going to continue to do with my channel. And because I mean, I've been doing the podcast for over maybe 2.5 years, the Invest in Yourself podcast. So that has always been my main thing. And I've always stayed consistent with that, posted one episode a week. But now that I've, I want to start posting more. I want to have at least 2 episodes come out a week with different people and then do a live show on Sundays. Hey, John, thanks for tuning in this morning, man. I appreciate it. How you doing? Big G, happy Easter, man. Hope you're having a good one today with your family. And I won't keep you guys too long. I'm just kind of giving the plans for the channel. But yeah, comment some for the people that are in the live chat. Please comment some guests that you would like to see and have answer questions on my live show, so you can like actually personally ask questions. Because I know a lot of you guys do comment in, and sometimes the questions are mainly for the guests that I brought on, and I don't know their answer because it's their life story, and some questions go into more detail. So if there is certain guests that you would like to hear or have me try to reach out to or bring back on, just let me know. But let's see. I'm gonna also talk about. So I made the post on the community tab with what was going on, why me and Sal had ended the show. He has more projects that he's going to be working on, and we've both felt we've covered enough with his life story, so we don't want to be repetitive and all that. So yeah, that's why we ended it there, and we're gonna close out the Patreon channel too, and we appreciate for the subscribers that have subscribed over there and onto the Patreon channel and came onto the YouTube channel as well, and just have been amazing. It's been really cool, really great from all you guys, and I appreciate the ones sticking around and still going to continue to watch the interviews that I cover. So I've been doing this stuff for quite a while. We usually don't do solo shows and stuff like that, but today I just wanted to start this Invest in Yourself live podcast live series, just like how me and Sal had our Sal and Adrian live series. Well, on this one, I'm going to continue to have probably more criminal aspects and different other people of different walks of life and stuff like that. So let's see, who do we got? Miss Bubbles. Hey, good morning. Thank you for doing it. Happy Easter to you too. So yeah, maybe I'll get some law enforcement people on here and survivor stories too, because I did an interview with a couple of 9/11 survivors, and people really like that, those kind of segments and different things of those sorts too. And yeah, I think it'd be cool to have them come on, share their story, and answer questions and understand what it was like for them going into the being inside the 9/11 area. Maybe they can compare stories and come on here and talk and chat as well. Good morning, Roman. Happy Easter to you too. John, he says you do great, young man. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you that's the thing too. Like with me and Sal, we knew when going into that podcast that it was just going to be temporary. It wasn't going to be something we did in the long term thing. So that's why I always stayed consistent and did doing my podcast, because I wanted to have something to have some kind of stability and continue to grow, because I've always done this podcast by myself and I've always enjoyed doing it like that. and having to bring on any kind of a lot of different guests and all kinds of different people to share their different stories, but they share their overcoming of adversity and beating the odds and somehow surviving and sharing their story, their redemption story, and how they were able to change their life before someone else was, like, say their brother wasn't able to make it out of the gang life and they did, and they were fortunate enough to do that because a lot of people die in this life, and I don't think we realize that until we interview them and understand what it was like for them to go through what they went through and how they're still alive somehow sharing their stories. There's a lot of guys out here, but there's a lot of guys that ain't. They didn't get the chance to change their life around. But let's see. What else did I wanted to bring up on here? Hmm. I think that I'd like to continue to do these live shows around this time on Sunday mornings. I think we're all pretty familiar with this type of this type of setup, how we have the interviews in the morning. Sunday mornings, I enjoy it. I got my cup of coffee and I come down here and just talk with you guys and all that, and it's pretty nice. But what kind of guests would you guys like to hear? Like if you have like if you could pick any guest for me to reach out to and bring on this live show, who would it be? Like mob guys, gangster guys, drug smugglers, law enforcement? Like who would you like to see on here? Let's see. John here says, "How about getting a couple of guests that started successful startup companies that really changed their lives?" Yeah, that'd be really good. That would be an interesting segment to really go into because that's true. Like being able, a lot of these people that were involved with crime, in some cases, I suppose they were smart enough and they had that type of business type of mind, and they were able to get out of that life and really started and bring a name for themselves because they always had that talent of being smart and being able to build a business. They're business like minded. So I agree, John. That'd be really good. I'll have to think of some guys that are like that and maybe to reach out to them. Let's see, Miss Bubbles, what she say? She says, guess that started from ground zero or hard times and are really doing well now. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. That'd be really good. And that's the kind of thing that I'm looking into trying to find because there is some out there like that. And those are the ones that I want to reach out to as well and find like how can they explain a success story? Because yeah, they might have been raised in poverty and all that, and then of course they turned to crime, and then they're lucky enough to get out of it, and then wanting to start to make a change in their life and go legit in other terms without whether they became informant or non-informant. That's what I'm saying. That's just I'd like to hear from both really. Let's see. Lex here says, "I love your work, young man. You carry yourself very well for a guy in his 20s." Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I'd like to say that you look back at my old videos from 3 years ago when I first started, holy crap. And I still struggle with doing solo shows and stuff like that, but I'm trying. I'm getting better with it. I'm trying to brush up on speaking and everything, but from where I started, I could say I could tell a damn big difference. Morrissey Boy says it would be nice to see some Hell's Angels. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've reached out to a couple bikers actually, and maybe a couple of them were with Hell's Angels. One said he'd get back to me, and then I never heard back from the other. But I can look into more of that because I'd like to see more biker stuff. Because I had this guy Mooch. He was a good interview. He was a leader in one of the biker clubs, and he just came out with the book. So he was pretty good, and he said that he'd reach back out once he's done moving, maybe in a couple weeks, and then we could set up a show. And that's what I wanted to do, a live show with him on this new segment, the Invest in Yourself podcast live series. So all the live series episodes, they'll be connected to a playlist. So this one's the first one, but then I will continue to after from this point to have guests on, and they'll share their stories and compare stories and just really connecting with the audience. That's what I like to do with these live shows. Happy Easter from Finland. Wow. Thank you, man. Thanks for tuning in. That's crazy. Hope you're having a good Easter out there. I wonder what time it is over there. It's only 10 a.m. where I'm at, man. But see, yeah, it's cool that there's all kinds of different people from around the world that watch my show, and I guess I never really realized that until I, like, looked at the analytics of where the YouTube audience and everything, and really seeing where everybody's from and just different ages and everything. So it's kinda hard to narrow down the audience age because the people that I interview are, I suppose, different ages and everything anyhow. But I just, I think it's very cool. Let's see what he said, 1812 in Finland. 1812, is it what was that, like, military time maybe? Yeah, I'm guessing that's military time, yeah. Joey Bubbles, hey, love you, brother. Look forward to your future on here. Miss Bubbles and I will will be watching. Well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad you guys were able to tune in and make the show. Stick around because I'm gonna have more cool guests on, and that's pretty much what I'm gonna continue to do. I know it sounds a little repetitive, but that's what I wanted to come on here and share with you guys, and it's been a long couple years since I've been doing these podcasts, and it started off back in my shed, just just, hanging out with my dad and friends and just drinking, and then it really evolved into interviewing rappers, interviewing gangsters, interviewing mob guys, interviewing drug smugglers, drug dealers, and it just really changed throughout the years, and I just wanna continue to grow and continue to learn because I don't know everything, that's for damn sure, but I love doing research, I love trying to figure things out, I love watching something grow, especially like this YouTube channel. So, I do appreciate everyone sticking around since the beginning and, uh, just for the newcomers too. I know there's been a lot of newcomers over these last, these especially these last 2 years. Let's see. Yeah, I did get a confirmation from a few people that said they would like to come on the show to be a new guest on this one because it's still connected to the Invest in Yourself podcast. But I mean, this one's its own kind of like live series. So I'm going to bring Andrew D. Donato. He said yes. And then another retired ATF agent. He's going to come on and talk about some stories about Tupac and stuff like that. And yeah, so there's a few guys that said yeah so far that I've reached out to. I haven't reached out to a whole lot of people given it's Easter weekend and everything, but there are some people. Let's see. Lex says, mob wise, no one has interviewed Fat Pete Coyote. Coyote? Coyote. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Also, Phil Leonetti would be cool to see on your show, but probably not the easiest. Yeah, no, I agree. I've tried to look around for Phil, but there's no social media or anything like that. I don't even know how other guys got him on unless he reached out. That's probably the only way that you're gonna get an interview from him. But Fat Pete, I didn't know he was still around. But I guess, yeah, he probably would be a good interview. I don't know if I've ever seen him on any shows. Have you, Lex? I mean, that'd be interesting to see or watch because I've heard of him in like mob documentaries and different stuff like that, but never seen like a form of interview wise. Leonetti would be 100%. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, man. That'd be a really interesting one because he's only done a couple interviews too and appearances on mob documentaries, but he's always blacked out. He don't really show his face. His voice, I think he leaves in there, but it's interesting to see what he was a part of a lot of different stuff with Nicky Scarfo for sure. And there's a lot of stuff around there's a lot of people really liking the Philly stuff right now because the whole Jolie Merlino, he came out doing his stuff and all that. So I recently posted the interview I did with Bobby Luisi, and he was a former capo, and he talks about Joey Merlino making him a made guy in that Philly family. So that was an interesting one. So that's why I put it out there, and it's like at 10,000 maybe now, I think, but a lot of people like that, and I figured it'd get a lot of attention. And I don't go on bashing anyone or anything like that or saying anything. You just let Bobby tell his story, and that's what he said. It was in his book, and That's what he said. He told the I believe he probably would have had to tell the feds that, I mean, if he's out here talking about it now. So, Lex says, "No, he's more secretive than Phil Leonetti." Yeah, I believe he got shot up, that Fat Pete, at one point. So, yeah, quite a bit. I would imagine that's why he's probably more secretive and stuff. What has if for the people live watching right now, what is, your favorite mob interview that I've done? Who was one of your favorite guys that I brought on, and maybe it's been a long time since I had him on, and you'd like to ask him some questions and stuff? Because 'Cause I've interviewed quite a bit. Let's see, Morsi Boy says, "I wonder how difficult it would to contact Mikey Scars." See, I talked to him before, and RJ Roger, they don't really do a whole lot of shows like that. They kinda just stick to their YouTube channel and their Patreon. They do their own thing. I'm pretty cool with RJ, his co-host, and Mikey, I talked to him maybe one time. No, maybe I went on their show one time and asked him a question. I just recently posted that clip maybe a couple months ago of when I asked him a question, and then RJ's been maybe a couple weeks since I talked to him, but yeah, they just kinda stick to their own. They don't really go on just any show, which I don't blame them. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that goes on and drama and controversy and everything, and you gotta kinda pick what you believe in, what you stand for, and that's why I just always stayed out of that that kinda drama circle, but I just don't feel it's the best thing to get involved with. Maybe, yeah, to get some attention and everything, but, I just really don't really like that stuff, man. Feel like it just takes away from the real content, the real stories and everything like that. You have done many good ones, so hard to pick. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm sure you've seen them all then. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, Lex here says, "My favorite was Lou Ferrante." Yeah, that was a good one. I enjoyed doing the show with Lou. I actually did 2 of them with him because I read 2 of his books, and I was like, "Dude, you gotta bring you back on," because the one we did got, like, 20,000 views, and I was like, "Damn, he's a great speaker. He knows how to carry himself when he's talking and speaking and telling the story. He captures every single detail, so he's good." I liked it, especially the first one we did. That one really got a lot of good attention, but he's a really good writer, so I agree. He's a good, interview. Let's see. Oh, Fat Pete died in 2016, actually, but no one mentions him. He was the first to flip before Al DiArco and Gaspipe. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I heard. And it didn't that's why he ended up flipping and stuff because they were threatening his family and then even himself and they were shooting. Let's see. All almost all of them listening every evening after work. Well, man, that means a lot because that's why I post them for everyone to listen to, whether they listen to them in the morning or at work or wherever they wind down at the end of the day and they wanna watch some interviews. Just it's pretty cool to see and hear that people are just chilling on their porch, listening and watching the shows that I put out there. It's pretty cool really to me because in the beginning, it was not like that at all. I wasn't getting no attention, no traction or anything for the shows and stuff that I was putting out there, but that's expected, I suppose, because I had no understanding on anything on what I was doing. So now I'm starting to grasp that now that I've been learning and doing research and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. But yeah, let's see. Perhaps more from the Bloods and Crips. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. I've interviewed a couple Crip guys. I don't think I've interviewed a Blood yet, though. No. And I've tried to reach out to a couple of them. I'm kind of picky, though. I like to make sure that they've turned their life around and stuff. But there is people out there that I could interview. There's a lot of guys that I could interview, but whether how they act on social media or how they talk in their interviews that I watch, I'm picky. I just kind of judge from there as like, did this guy really regret what he did, or does he really feel bad for the things he's done? I just don't want to interview anyone. Sure, I did that in the past, and I was like, understand that there's not much meaning to that, and I was like, yeah, I might get some views and stuff, but really, to me, it just didn't feel right to put stuff out like that with people that really don't care for their actions and didn't care about what they did in the past. So Yeah. You guys have any questions for me that you'd like to ask me, or anything that you'd like to see more, or any personal questions? Morsi Boy says, "I totally understand about making sure the guests are legit." Yeah, I know. That's the big thing. It's a big factor in for me too because you just never know. And I got to do more research on if there's police documents about them out there, or if there's any government papers with them, or have they ever been arrested, kind of thing. Because you're right. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell whether someone's BSing or not. You just don't know. Anybody got any plans for today? What's everyone got going on today? This is Easter Sunday. Let's see here. Trying to think too who else. Yeah, I have another guy that says he wants to come on too. I'm just kind of looking to see who reached back. Oh yeah, a 9/11 survivor. He said he wants to. Another mob guy said he wants to come on. So I got 4 potential shows lined up then. So what I'll do is I'll probably just do one segment per week and just kind of keep going on and on like that, and just see what comes to mind, and see what you guys want to hear and what kind of people you want me to interview. Let's see. Morsi Boys here says we are preparing dinner, roast and sides. Oh man, that sounds good. Terrific. I love a good roast, man. What are you doing in the crock pot, or how you doing it? Also, too, I was gonna let people know that I do have my podcast. It's on the Invest in Yourself podcast. You can look it up on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and every other podcast directory that you may use. It should be on there, called the Invest in Yourself podcast. So if you want to go on there and you like listening to my interviews, like just the audio and stuff like that, really don't care to be on YouTube, you can find them on there. Also, yeah, if you want to just leave good reviews on there too, if you like it on there, you'll enjoy the podcast, please do that, because that does help me out with trying to get more promoted on those. Especially, I think Spotify is my main one, and then Apple Podcast is in second, and then all the other ones just kind of fall behind after that. But those are the two main ones that people like watching on there, and I think those ones do pretty good as well. But YouTube is my main thing, but just, if people like being over there, then that's fine. You just It's on there. You can find me. Let's see. Lex here says, "Who do you think is the most important mobster in Cosa Nostra history?" I think Frank Costello. Oh man. Yeah, well, I think too, before even all these guys, Arnold Rothstein, he really helped mentor a lot of these guys. Lucky, Frank Costello himself, Meyer Lansky, but he wasn't. He was Jewish. He wasn't really so much part of that, but Lucky was a big factor into it, and he really made his big moves and taking out the bosses and just starting a whole new thing for himself and all the mob families and stuff, just because they were like the guys coming up and stuff, and they changed the rules and everything and how it was so strict and all that, because they only wanted to deal with Italians, and Lucky wanted to deal with the Jewish gangsters, the black gangsters, and really mix it up. So I think he really changed it up. Good question there, man. David here says, "Have a good Easter, everyone." Well, same to you, man. Let's see. Lex says it's Sunday, trying to hit a brunch. Yeah, well, that'd be good too, man. And maybe you'll find a spot that's open if you're lucky, since it's Easter, I guess, holiday, and it's kind of hard to find stuff open. But I'm sure there's some stuff open. Maybe McDonald's. Uh, oh well, that's pretty much all I have to really share with you without being repetitive and stuff. But I have a lot of good interviews that I've done, and check them out. You can go to the Invest in Yourself podcast playlist on this YouTube channel and just go through. I got all kinds of mob interviews, gangster interviews, drug smuggler interviews. Just all you have to do is just go to that playlist tab and check them out. on this YouTube channel, and share my channel with a friend and stuff too that you think will enjoy this podcast, because it really goes a long way by sharing. Word of mouth is very impactful and powerful, because they understand that you like it, then well they can like it too. What versus just being random and them seeing it on YouTube. But any more questions? I'll wait a minute. But if there, I'll wait another minute, and if there's any more questions for me or what you guys would like to see, just let me know. I'll give it a minute. Take a sip of coffee. Okay, well, I do appreciate everyone tuning in, and there's going to be a lot of good and cool live shows coming up. So just stay tuned. Just expect the same thing, same time, Sunday live shows, same time as it's always been, but it's a new segment running. It's the Invest in Yourself podcast live series. I got to pick which guest I want to bring on first. I got 4 options so far, which is great. I like that. And we're just going to keep rolling with this channel, and we're going to keep going with my podcast channel, go harder with that, go harder with these live shows, and keep bringing you guys good content. So thank you everyone for tuning into this live this morning. We almost did 30 minutes, but next week it will be more fun. We'll have a guest on, and you can interact with them and get more questions from them and stuff. So we'll see everyone there. Thanks for tuning in.